to start the meeting.
Good. I'll get us started and give you the signal then. And we're good to go.
Thank you, Dave. Good morning. This is a convening of the Massachusetts Gaming Commission, public meeting number 523. I'm Jordan Maynard. I'm serving as interim chair. This meeting is being held virtually, so we will do a roll call. Good morning, Commissioner O'Brien.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning, Commissioner Hill.
Good morning, I'm here.
And good morning, Commissioner Skinner.
Good morning.
It's Monday, July 1st on a July 4th week, and it's approximately 11:01 a.m. On our agenda today is a legislative update from Commissioner Hill and a long anticipated matter of potentially adding Bally Bet to the Massachusetts market. With that, let's first turn to Commissioner Hill for a legislative update. Commissioner Hill, good morning.
Mr. Chairman, I would respectfully request, can we do public meeting agenda item number 3 first and do number 2 after that? Would anybody object to that?
That is fine with me, Commissioners.
There's one bit of information that I'm still waiting on that I think we'll have by the end.
Perfect. We will go back to you, Commissioner Hill.
Thank you.
With that, let's turn to item number 3, which is consideration by the Commission to grant an operation certificate for the launch of a Category 3 operator, and that's Bally Bet. For that, we're going to turn to Crystal Boschman. Good morning, Crystal.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm ready. So today I am representing the sports wagering division, but as well as the greater collective of the MGC team, who has worked to review the many components required to ensure an operator has met the conditions required for approval of an operation certificate. In this case, specifically, the operator is Bally's Interactive. I'd like to note that the internal collaborative launch team, as I'll refer to it, included licensing and IEB as a whole, research and responsible gaming, finance, IT, ITS, legal, and of course, sports wagering. And I'd really like to thank everyone for meeting bi-weekly over the past several months to prepare. We do have Bally's on the call as well, so if there are any specific questions we can address with them, feel free. You have the memo in your packet, but I'll go over everything pretty detailed just to cover the bases here. I will note that if Bally's Interactive receives approval today for their operation certificate, they intend to launch Bally Bet Sportsbook in the Commonwealth tomorrow, July 2nd, approximately 11 a.m. As noted in the memo, 205 CMR 251013 is the guiding regulation related to the issuing requirements for a sports wagering operation certificate. 3A specifically calls out approvals of the internal controls and all approved policies and procedures. As part of this, the House rules were verified by Sports Wagering Operations Manager Andrew Steffen and approved by the Commission during the public meeting on June 20th, 2024. As the IC review and certification is done in consultation by GLI, as well as several of the components under 205 CMR 25102, which relate to the evaluation and testing. I'll turn that over momentarily to GLI. And I think Gabe, Benedict, are you on the call, Gabe? Or is it you, Joe?
Oh, we're both here.
All right, they're both here. Great. So I'll turn it over to GLI to address those in particular.
Thanks for having us. Chair and members commission. My name is Joe Sponmouth, Vice President of Government Regulatory Affairs or GLI. I'll give an overview of the submittal, cert, and verification process regarding mobile application in this case and for the commission. For Bally Bet, since it's a platform we are familiar with, a modification list from the last submission to one or more U.S. jurisdictions was requested and reviewed to set the project plan for Massachusetts, considering any changes to the platform for the specific Massachusetts rules and regulations. During that process, we reviewed the technology architecture documentation, which is a complete, comprehensive, and technically accurate description and explanation of the sports wagering system. This includes a description of all hardware devices and virtual servers, description of all server and client software modules, including the software versions, the layout of the network communications between the various software and hardware modules, and an explanation of all third-party integration systems. Post that review, the critical files regarding compliance were identified and documented. Then a complete project plan was put in place, taking into account the unique architecture design of their platform and the specific Massachusetts Gaming Commission rules and regulations. We ran a supervised compilation of those source files, the signature of those files, the compilation steps, and the signatures of the compiled code. Once that was complete, the source code was submitted for testing in a lockdown environment. We reviewed the player account management system, known as PAM, for registration, age identification, verification, account controls, payments, reporting, limits, responsible gaming controls, required disclosures, and geolocation. Geolocation testing commenced in two parts: a field test to verify the borders and sampling along the entire border while completing edge case technical tests. The field tests also covered any other restricted areas as defined by the Mass Gaming Commission. A subversive workaround detection will commence in the lab, including but not limited to VPN proxy usage, GPS spoofing, code manipulation, man-in-the-middle attacks. Then we verified the sportsbook in total for events, markets, point spreads, bet acceptance, and the corresponding timestamps and all logging. We verified the enforcement of betting limits in all edge cases, the pre-event and live data feeds, post-event bet settling, the corresponding timestamps, and all logging and reporting. We reviewed the change management process and procedures, and then after everything was met, the certification was issued when GLI verified the changes made from Massachusetts-specific deployment, including source code differential and change testing to the last reviewed version. And we evaluated the product has met all the Massachusetts-specific requirements. And then, yeah, that would do it. And then we did an entire complete internal control audit of for Bally's, which they worked very diligently with us in the last month through the control sheet that was approved by the Mass Gaming Commission. Any questions? I haven't read that in a while.
I do have a question. Good morning, Joe. Good morning,
Good
Gabe.
morning.
If I remember, first, thank you very much for your work. It's good to see both of you again and to have you involved in this process. If I remember correctly, during the cert ops process for the other operators, we actually saw a report. You guys walked us through a report, and I can't remember if it was on the GLI 33 side or the internal controls side. Are you prepared to, and you can answer that, but then the request, Mr. Chairman, is that we have the benefit of having one of you walk us through that report. I think there were some, in some instances, I think you ranked, and maybe ranked is not a good word, but you categorized some of the risks, low, medium, high. So I'm just looking for that to happen in this case, if you are prepared to do that.
I did not bring my auditor here to do that and was not informed that we would need to do that. We do have the internal control report over to your entire group. And I mean, I could try to do it, but I wouldn't be 100% comfortable as was speaking with the auditor that did the actual report like we did last time. And note that last time we just went over one so you could get the full process. And honestly, I've actually used that YouTube clip for other gaming commissions to show what the internal control process is. I have. So if you want the timestamp, I have it. But I'm not fully prepared to go through a detailed walkthrough since I was not the actual auditor.
So, but you're confirming that that process was in connection with the internal controls?
That's correct, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
could you just, Mr. Chairman, please, if you could just, could you remind us all what that process entailed? I mean, just in terms of getting to that report and the assessment that you gave, what is it that you were looking for? How did you characterize any loose ends, I'll use, things that you identified as needing some additional review by the operator? Just if you could, and I know you said you didn't have your auditor on here, so this might not be possible, but if you could let us know if you found any items that were on the higher risk threshold.
So that's,
Good, Jordan.
oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Joe. I think that's a good question, Commissioner Skinner. And really, I guess to distill it, it would be, were there any major issues that we need to think about or worry about? And I, as one commissioner, can say that the universal wallet issues have been in our heads as a gaming commission, but really just, were there any issues that stuck out that we need to be watching for as a commission?
So looking over the report actively right now, as soon as Natisha mentioned it, I don't see any right here. I will note, like, as for the process, I can give a high overview of that. Really, internal controls is basically 4 parts. You've got the regulation is a statement of what the operator in this case needs to comply to. And then you have the policy and that the operator submits in order to show how they're going to control that requirement, which usually leads to a procedure or standard operating procedure within their internal. And then there's the verification process, which is what we did. We were number 4 in that process. Justin Black is here. He worked diligently. His team worked diligently with my team for the last month, nearly every day, to complete that entire process, because the entire spreadsheet that has all the controls is close to 1,700 lines. Gabe, is that sound right? Yeah.
Yes, and let me jump in real quick too,
Yep.
just to reiterate. So when we do this compliance review, they will review Massachusetts specific rules and requirements as well as GLI 33, both Appendix A and B, and they'll be marked off as compliant or not compliant, and then further review. But that would take place at our level. It wouldn't get to you all. We would make sure that everything would be verified, corrected upon getting to this point in the process. So our audit group or our team that was working with Justin and his team there was probably some back and forth interaction, and Justin could probably speak better on behalf of that. And then we list in the report the appendices, which all the documents that were reviewed for compliance. So just to kind of give you a quick idea, I think there's close to 100 and just under 150 or so documents that were reviewed in this whole process. And that's in that report that I'm not sure if you all had received that report or not yet, but it's in that finalized report.
We also supplied the worksheet, the actual spreadsheet as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you both. To be clear, I am in no way questioning the review itself conducted by GLI. It's really just the results of that review and whether or not there are any sticking points or anything that we should be paying more attention to as we move forward here. And I, for one, have not received, I don't think any of my fellow commissioners have received the report. And so it would be helpful to the extent that we got the benefit of seeing the reports of the assessment conducted in the case of the other operators. I think it would make sense that we review that to ensure that there's nothing that stands out. Again, in particular, I'm looking for the observations and really that categorization that you had done up in terms of things to watch for.
Yeah, and just a quick glance, I don't see any observations noted, and there was, or neither was there any non-conformity. So they were full 100% compliant, and there wasn't anything that, again, that was any observations or anything that were noted on this report. So
Okay, great. Well,
Yep.
there you go.
Yep.
It'd be good to have that report. And so Crystal, Andrew, if you
I'll
could
have that
circulate
sent
that at some point, that would be great.
Of course.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner Skinner.
Are there any additional questions related to the internal controls? I'll make sure to send you guys the formal report. And just to finalize the internal control approvals, the executive director, Dean Serpa, did formally sign off on the ICs, which is required by 238.023. Moving forward, 205 CMR 251.013B, those requirements related to occupational licenses and vendor licenses were confirmed complete by Kathleen Kramer, our interim chief of enforcement counsel, and Kara O'Brien, our chief of licensing. You do not see sections C, D, and E on your memo because they do not apply to category 3 licensees. However, many of the other requirements do fall under 205 CMR 251.013F. And so the memo includes the full list, but I will run through that with you. This specific regulation is a bit of a catch-all. It's compliance with any other condition imposed by the commission to secure the objectives of MGL Chapter 23N and 205 CMR. So for this section, we have an entire tracker and completed that tracker in final as of Friday. This included the confirmation of a plan to utilize the Department of Revenue's Intercept, which has been approved by the DR, and the MOU was signed by Executive Director Dean Serpa. Director Bruce Band obtained documentation that Bally's has insured functionality for credit card deposits being deactivated in the Commonwealth. And of course, that's a piece of GLI's review as well. The finance team reviewed and approved Bally's banking structure, and Bally's has set up the necessary reporting protocols. The Know Your Customer KYC process was reviewed to ensure it is inclusive of the KBA requirement per 238.044. That piece was confirmed by Christian Tavares of our GTC team internally and Kevin Gabro, our information and security manager. Compliance with the VSE policy per 205 CMR 233.066 was reviewed and confirmed by Long Bon, our program manager. And as part of our internal controls, so it's mentioned under that section as well, but the required problem gambling plan was reviewed by Director Mark Vanderlinden. It was approved. It does require by Chapter 23N Section 4 that the plan is sent to the Department of Public Health for consultation, and they also submitted their response requiring no revision to the plan. Bally's proposed marketing plan and launch assets were reviewed to ensure the proper RG guidance was adhered to, as well as no issues per 205 CMR 256. The mandatory exclusion policy was submitted by Bally's and reviewed by Sports Wagering and IEB. It was also signed off on by Director Serpa, which is required by 152.065. And we also confirmed that Bally's had an initial meeting with the lottery and does have a post-launch follow-up call set up for July. The reporting requirements, templates, deadlines, all related to various components of 205 CMR, as well as the change management reporting, were submitted to Bally's. The House rules have been posted to the app, the most current version. Thank you to Compliance Officer Griffin Miniotti, who also helped a lot in this process, as Bally's will be a large component of his work. And the licensing team did confirm that the required fees have been paid. Further, 251.02 requires the testing and evaluation of Bally's systems. Many of that is covered by GLI, including those geofencing capabilities and the player management system. The certification was received. And the sports wagering division did confirm we have obtained the required test accounts and the back-end access to the player account management system and our reporting portals. Further, I reviewed Bally's original commitments and the commission's request for supplemental items requested during application review process from January of 2023 and confirmed all those requested items had been received and addressed. Are there any questions related to the components under F?
Commissioners, any questions under this section? I'm seeing none, Crystal.
I have just one quick question, Mr. Chairman. On the licensing component, Crystal, by review, which is the terminology you use in your memo, does that mean that the vendors are all licensed at this point, or that they have submitted the application fee and the application and all of the relevant documents?
I'm not sure if Kara is on to attest to any of that, but as far as I know, the temporary licenses are complete.
I do see.
That's the temporary licensing.
Crystal,
And
I
then,
do see.
oh, I see Caitlin. Okay, great.
Yes, just jumping in on this one, Commissioner Skinner. The full licenses have not been issued, but the temporary licenses have been issued.
Great, thank you.
Inspector Mind. Any other questions? Excellent. Okay, so due to the completion of the requirements that have been listed in your memo and addressed here today, the division would recommend that the commission vote to approve a certificate of operations for Bally's Interactive effective July 1st, 2024. And we've requested a vote today.
Thank you, Crystal. Commissioners, any questions specific to this entire process? All right, it is marked up for a vote.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the commission find that the requirements outlined in 205 CMR 251 have been satisfied and that an operation certificate be awarded to Bally's Interactive LLC for the purposes of operating a Category 3 sports wagering operation commencing July 2nd, 2024, conditional upon Bally's Interactive LLC completing operational audits of wagering procedures and practices and technical security controls as required by the Commission's technical standards governing sports wagering at 205 CMR 243.011S and 205 CMR 243.011X within 90 days of the commencement of sports wagering operations.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner O'Brien. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
And I vote yes. Congratulations to Bally's. And thank you for being another legal entity in the market here in Massachusetts. Anything you want to say?
Brett, Justin?
Thank you. We're looking forward to it, and we appreciate everyone's collaboration and assistance getting us here today. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say thank you to the commissioners for allowing us to enter your great state, and really all the wonderful people from the Gaming Commission that diligently helped us through this licensing process. I think the thoroughness and collaboration and communication from your guys' group was of the highest and most professional level. And as an operator, I think that's really, really appreciated to have that type of cohesive communication during the licensing journey, because it is complex and there's a lot of moving parts to it and there's a lot of people involved. So on behalf of the entire Bally's team, I want to say thank you. We're super excited to go live in Massachusetts, a state with such a rich sports history, a state where sports is part of the fabric of the community, and we can't wait to participate in the entertainment, the fun, and the excitement of sports in your state. So thank you so much from all of us at Bally's.
Thank you, Brett. Anything else before we move on? I will say thank you for joining our roundtable a couple months ago, and thank you for coming into the office when we had an issue pop up. You flew in and surprised us all. We had to scramble to get you through the elevators and up to the office, but it was nice to meet you. So with that, commissioners, are we ready to move on to item number 1, Commissioner Hill, or do we still need some time? All right.
Mr. Chairman, I think we're all set, can move forward. So the update that and by the way, to Bally's, congratulations, and look forward to working with you in the future. So as you know, there's a lot of activity taking place up in the legislature as they're getting ready to close out their session for the year in about 30 days. And we had talked a couple of weeks ago regarding an economic development bill that's making its way through the legislature. And last week, the House actually voted and sent to the Senate their version of an economic development bill. And of the language that was adopted in the bill, one of the things that was not included, which is a little disappointing to us, was that it did not include the language that was related to the public records that was actually in the original economic development bill. When the bill went to Ways and Means, when it came out from that committee, that language had been removed. Through the debate and through discussions during the public or during the formal session last week, there were some sections that were added that we need to just be watching. One of them was section 124. And I'll just tell you in brief what it does. And if we need to read the section, I'd be more than happy. But in short, section 124 allows Suffolk to have a simulcasting facility at any location within the counties of Suffolk and Worcester, if approved by the Mass Gaming Commission. As you remember, when simulcasting and sports wagering was passed, Suffolk has a license or would be eligible for a license anywhere in Suffolk County. This, as we understand it now, allows them to look in Worcester County as well. Section 124A was also amended, and I have a question regarding this section because I'm not exactly understanding why it was put forth in the way it was. The Greyhound Capital Improvement Trust Fund and the Greyhound Promotional Trust Fund hasn't been in place since around 2009, is my understanding. And at that time, all the funds of these two funds were put into the Racing Stabilization Fund. And this fund, this Racing Stabilization Fund, ceased to make payments around 2000 or 2016. However, there is still around $600,000 in the fund. But the amounts of money that were given to Greyhound owners, again, stopped around 2016. And Section 154, this deals with the Running Horse Capital Improvement Trust Fund, which in effect, as I read it and staff reads it, would affect Raynham and Suffolk, which thoroughbred racing, if you will. A portion of these funds would be returned to these two entities by the Mass Gaming Commission. Not all of it, just a portion of it. And my understanding is the last we looked is probably about, I think, and I hope I'm right, Doug, in about $6 million that are in the fund. And this section would allow not only for Suffolk and Raynham to get some of those funds back, but it also would say in essence that they don't have to pay into this fund anymore moving forward. So those were some of the things that were taking place in the economic development package last week. And also we're watching, how we can have our meetings in public. And there is a bill that's moving forward that would actually allow for us to continue doing our meetings remotely. However, any chair in place would have to be physically in our building to have the meeting. And that would be any entity from locals all the way to the state government, that any chair would have to physically be here, or his or her designee. Let me be very clear about that. So those are the two bills that we're watching right now. And of course, we're still waiting for the budget to be released to see if there's anything in there that, we need to know about. But that would be my update in short, and certainly we can answer any questions that you have, and we can get more technical if you would like. And we do have Doug O'Donnell here to help if you should have any questions at this time.
I see Commissioner Skinner took her mic off. Commissioner Skinner?
Thank you. Commissioner Hill, thanks for the update. Just a simple question. Where is the economic development bill at this point? Is it with the Senate right
So it
now?
was voted by the House and it now goes to the Senate for their deliberation.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I have a brief comment, Commissioner Hill. You know, just part of my philosophy as regulator is that I typically don't comment on legislation until it's passed, but the public records law, bringing it into compliance with 23K would be really helpful to do our work and for the operators and for us as regulators. It would make it much easier. So that's one comment I will make in public on that piece. But Dr. Lightbound, I see your mic's off.
Oh, yeah, just to, obviously staff is going to be looking at these, and Todd's team and Derek's team, we'll have to get together on some of these items and make sure we're all on the same page, because some of these are rather complicated issues. It looked like there was also an amendment that would direct the Gaming Commission to pay the unclaimed simulcast wagers back to the licensee that generated them, instead of going to the purse accounts, which is interesting. And then we'll just, continue to monitor it and have some meetings to discuss what we need to tease out on what they have there as far as the legal implications and the finance, obviously.
Thank you.
So
Dr.
Alec, just to follow up on that also, like for legal, I mean, if they legislate it that way, they legislate it that way, but it would seem to be in conflict with abandoned property in most other circumstances, even just the spirit of that. So I'm sure the treasurer is also aware of it. I know when sports wagering first came in, she was very vocal about wanting everything to be consistent in that regard across the board. So I don't know if we wanted to just make sure the lottery also knew about that. It's sort of going in the other direction, if that's what they're in fact going to do on the unclaimed tickets part of it.
I think we can make sure the team ensures that everyone is informed about how that's moving forward. Commissioner O'Brien, that's a good point. Any other questions, comments on this item? All right, commissioners, I realized I asked about questions on item 2, but I didn't ask if anybody had any statements or anything to say to the team or Bally's on the launch. I realized I skipped that. Anybody have anything to say?
Oh, well, is Bally's still on? It's
I'm
just, they
sure
don't
they'll
have to
hear
be,
it.
but it's really just a welcome to Massachusetts. Congratulations. And then to the team, I did want to express my appreciation for the due diligence that has been made over the past several weeks to ensure that Bally's is ready to go tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments in that regard? Any other questions, Commissioner Hill? Any other statements, Commissioner Hill?
Not at this time.
All right, do we have any commissioner updates? Any other business we didn't anticipate? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner,
Hi.
and I vote yes 4-0. Everyone have a great Monday, and this is our last public meeting. We have some meetings tomorrow, but everyone have a great 4th of July. Enjoy it. It's one of my favorite holidays.